Well, we are live, pals, and welcome to another edition of the Bill Apter Seal of Approved. Count it out with Mike and Tyler. I am Cottage Springs Tyler tonight, and I am joined as always by Mojito Mike. Mike, it is a rare treat tonight. I am able to drink excessively while we do the show about the man who is straight edge today.
It's the Lord's Day.
It's Mike and I normally record this on a Monday night after I'm done a shift of work, which means I have to drive home after. So I do not indulge in more than half of a Cottage Springs beverage, which really sucks because I like drinking when we do this show. But I'm at home tonight. I got the All Out pay-per-view on in the background as we record this. And I want to make a quick little gripe about it before we get into all the other news of the week. I'm excited about the show. We'll obviously talk about it next week as it's already happened by the time you're listening to this, but we don't know what's happening. I really think, though, that they should have had Jungle Boy and Orange Cassidy on the main card for this. I would like to have seen a little bit more homegrown talent on the main show. That's it. That's my gripe.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, I don't give a fuck about homegrown or not. You put your talent, your best talent forward, whether they're homegrown or not homegrown. I mean, you and I are going to fight, on the moon about this. I don't give a shit. To me, they're not homegrown. They're GCW boys. They're my boys.
What's GCW?
So, yeah, go fuck yourself. These are guys I've been watching on the indies now for a good 5 years. So I agree with you, not because they're homegrown. I agree with you because I think no matter what product you are, what company you are, you should be putting your best product forward. And to hold these guys back wherever they are, pre-card, whatever, that's a shame, and it's a bad move. They're two of the most talented guys on your roster. So to not have them on the main card is stupid. Orange Cassidy is a draw no matter where he goes. No matter what promotion he's working for, he's a fucking draw. Jungle Boy is one of the most talented individuals on the wrestling scene today. So the two of them to be anywhere on that card would be a draw. It would be beneficial to your program. To not have them on there is a dumb move.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. And you mentioned GCW, so let's talk about the big news that happened in GCW, Mike.
Damn right, big news with GCW. Yeah. My boys, man, great pay-per-view last night. I enjoyed every minute of it. The only gripe I had with it, and it's not their fault, was one of the main matches that sold the card got written off. They didn't really say anything about it, which was Super Crazy versus Wwe.
I had border issues.
Border issues for Super Crazy and injury issues for Wwe. Because both were slated to be on the card less than 24 hours before at 3 Cup Stuffed. Wwe showed up. Super Crazy didn't because of border issues, but Wwe got injured at 3 Cup Stuffed. So neither showed up on the Art of War Game show. So that was a letdown. Other than that, everything else was great. They had a couple great fucking matches. Tony Deppen versus Ali Catch was fantastic.
Did Tony Deppen punch out that comedian?
Ron Funches.
Did you hear? Yeah. Did you hear that his ex-wife messaged him?
No, I didn't.
And just saying, I'm so glad that you don't like him. He's a terrible person, and a wrestler not liking him will really hurt his feelings.
It was a phenomenal outing. They're set to have a match in a couple of weeks, actually. Ron Funches has done a lot of stuff with GCW. He's been on commentary a lot. He's a big-time wrestling fan. You can tell his passion for wrestling. So it's cool to see him get in there and do some stuff. And Tony's obviously a really good sport. So it's cool to see this. The War Games match itself was fun for a fan like me. I don't think a purist like yourself would enjoy it. Knowing how much you loved War Games, this is not your War Games. This is War Games. This is War Games with light tubes and tables.
Yeah, but no War Games is my War Games anymore. Even when the WWE does it, AEW actually, their Blood and Guts is pretty. It was pretty bang on, but I mean, it's always different, right? But
so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you would enjoy it. Maybe you'd be able to like suspend your problems and just be like, I'm going to watch this for what it is. If you're able to do that, watch it for what it is. It was
which
really,
I am, and
really good.
I've been pretty fair with
You
GCW.
you've been very open-minded with GCW in the past, in the recent past.
And it's not my cup of tea. It's not my cup of tea, but I respect what they're doing.
But they told a really, really good story. They had like a 10-minute fucking just posing thing after they were done because the fans could not get enough of Team MDK.
For me, what I respect about JCW though is that they're captivating me with their angles. I'm not a big fan of the death match. I don't like the light tube. That's just not my thing. Not that I have a problem with it. It's just not for me. Yeah, I respect it. I respect it. I think there's a place where we talk about this.
And I respect your view on that because I was like that for a while too, to be perfectly honest.
But man, their storytelling, the stuff they're doing with Cardona, the stuff they're doing with Moxley, and Nick Gage is an intriguing person to me. Like he has that it factor. You know what I mean?
He really does. And he proved it at the end of War Games, the end of the War Games match, I should say. And then I was worried because I'm like, not only did they write off the super crazy Hoovy match, did they write off the Matt Cardona thing too? Because there was no way in my mind they were not going to close with War Games. And then they did it. They said, you know what? We're not even going to tear down the ring. We're just bringing out that son of a bitch Matt Cardona, and we're not even going to clean up the ring. He can wrestle in our shit. It was such a good story showing how much GCW, the company, hates Matt Cardona. They're not even going to clean the ring. They're going to leave the broken glass and the blood and everything in the middle of the ring for Matt Cardona to wrestle in. Such a great it's great storytelling to me.
And he came out as the Macho King, which I thought
was
my
great. God, was that fantastic. He comes out wearing this crown and he's got the glasses and the shirt. Holy fuck, it was phenomenal. He's the king of the death match now, right? So he's the Macho King. It was so well done. And he's got the GCW Universal title with the spinner. Man, nobody gets heat like Cardona right now.
And who we brought out to fight him, Frank the Clown.
And he gets in the ring and he says, I handpicked my opponent, and he brings out Frank the Clown. You want to see heat, man, in fucking Chicago? One of the hottest crowds in the fucking world. And then you give us a main event of Matt Cardona versus Frank the fucking Clown.
After
that is some heat. And of course, he beats Frank the Clown in a matter of seconds. And then G Raver's music hits.
I don't know who that is. I thought that, and I texted you this, I thought that G Raver was going to actually be Brian Myers under a mask. I could see a little bit of like,
but that's G Raver's look. Like,
I don't know who he is. So I was like, oh, this could be Cardona or Myers.
G Raver is one of the most deadly deathmatch wrestlers out there. Like he rivals only Nick Gage. So G Raver comes out off a very hot win from the night before against Jimmy Lloyd. The blow off match for their fucking 2-year-long feud. G Raver comes out and he's got these druids with him, which he's done before, so it kind of makes sense. And he sends all his druids to fight Cardona. And Cardona makes short work of them, man. He just kicks all their asses until there's one left. And that one fucking hits him with the dirty deeds, baby. He pulls off that mask.
The paradigm shift, if you will.
The paradigm shift. I'm sorry. Yes, you're absolutely right. I still like Dirty Deeds better.
Yeah, that's a good name.
He is. He pulls off that mask, and there he is. And I was so happy because I was starting to think that they forgot about the whole Moxley story. Like, what happened to Moxley? And there he's back.
You know what I like the most about that too, though, is that it was a throwback to how Cardona debuted because he did the Moxley. Like everyone thought it was Moxley, right? So I like how Moxley's
like how Moxley debuted in the first place too.
Yeah, but I mean, like that Cardona pretended to be him, so Moxley kind of got his receipt on him for doing that shit, you know?
Yeah. So Moxley beats Cardona, Moxley's the new GCW champion. And it doesn't take long till the rightful GCW champion wants his fucking title shot, and here comes the king.
I thought that was such a great visual. Moxley just told him, he just put the belt down, and the crowd parted. It was like the sea parting, and here he comes. Yeah, I thought
it was the only time in GCW history I can remember the crowd being that split when Nick Gage was involved. Mm-hmm. Usually Nick Gage is the fan favorite no matter what. But for the first time, Nick Gage is walking out and they're chanting Moxley. It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was a great moment.
They booked it for Atlantic City, I think, in November, October. Yes. I can't remember the date on that, but
it would be, I believe, October.
Yeah. So that'll be. You know what? I will watch that match.
Yeah, man. So good. It's great storytelling. I'm loving. I'm biased. I've loved GCW now for almost 5 years. I'm a big GCW fan, but I don't think they've ever been as good as they are right now. They are. I don't think any wrestling company has come out of the pandemic as good as GCW is.
I mean, some would argue AEW.
Mm-hmm.
AEW is pretty hot right now.
Yeah, but for what they are, without the money that AEW has.
Oh yeah, no, that's a different story. Yeah,
man, and that crowd, that fucking crowd.
Some people would say that Barry Wrestling is also coming out of the pandemic. It's one of the hottest companies in the world right now.
And definitely the hottest company in Ontario, bro.
I will tell you, man. So if you guys are in the Ontario area, or even just be around on Saturday on our Instagram at CountItOut7, Mike and I are going to be at the Barry Wrestling show. We're going to have a table set up there. We're going to bring you guys some exclusive interviews. We're going to be enjoying the show, hopefully talking to some fans, promoting the brand a little bit. It is a sellout. So, I mean, I don't think that's because of us, but hey, whatever. Let's do it anyways. I'm just going to run through some of the matches real quick on here for our Ontario listeners that are listening to this. Mark Wheeler defending the world title against Von Vertigo. You got Pretty Ricky Wiley. He's defending the Three Pistols Championship against Shane Saber, which will be a great match. Gabriel Fruaza. I can never say his name. You know me with names, guys. Come on, it's not. Don't give me heat on that. Against your boy Poof, who's fantastic.
First of all, it's Puff. Stop calling him Poof.
I always say Poof too.
I don't.
Lionel Knight is on the card. Holden Albright is on the card, who's a friend of the show. Another friend of the show, Nova, is going to be on the card. Big Ben
and another friend of the show,
Alexia Nicole.
Right.
And hopefully by the end of this show, we're going to have a lot of new friends of the show. So
absolutely. And the whole thing is run by, yes, he hasn't been on the show, but he's a friend of the show, Sean Gibson. Let's throw some fucking credit out to Sean.
Yeah, Sean is coming on our show a little bit closer to the All Ontario Cup tournament that they are doing.
But we've been working really close with Sean. He's an upstanding guy. He's doing this out of love for wrestling. He doesn't, he's not like a lot of promoters that I've met. He's not doing this for his wallet. He's not doing this for his ego. He's not putting himself over every week. He's not trying to put a belt on him. He's doing this because he loves professional wrestling. Sean's one of the promoters that I have met and talked to that I probably respect the most.
I agree with that, man. So thank you, Sean, for putting on such a great product. And we look forward to seeing everybody this weekend at Barry Wrestling. What else do you want to talk about this week, Mike?
Well, we have one last thing to talk about before we get in the list. I hate when we always have to go into a sad thing, but this is one of the sadder moments of the year 2021.
I agree.
By now, you're all very aware that last Wednesday, former WCW and TNA star Daphne went on her Instagram and made a very concerning video alluding to suicide. And apparently there was she was holding a gun in the video. And it scared a lot of people in the business, fans of hers, friends of hers. A lot of people tried to get a hold of her. They sent the cops. The police went to 2 different addresses, and she wasn't at either one of them. And they couldn't find her. Unfortunately, she was found in the morning, and she had passed away. This is a big one. This is a tough one for me. I have a hard time when it comes to suicide and mental illness. When I see somebody suffering from it, and when I see somebody succumb to it, it's coming from somebody who has suffered and does suffer from mental health issues, and somebody who has stared suicide and down the throat on more than one occasion. It's a tough one to see somebody end up the way Daphne did. Not because she was so talented as she was, not because she was a great wrestler as she was, and not because she was famous, because it doesn't matter who you are. If you're Billy Bob from fucking Arkansas or Daphne from WCW, nobody should go out that way. And it's a real tragedy. It really is.
Yeah, and it was really sad too. I think one of the things she said is, please donate my brain to the Boston CTE wing so they can study it, so this doesn't happen to anybody else. It was so sad, and as a huge fan of Daphne's work, and we spoke about Daphne on our show just last week too, and put her over as a trendsetter.
We did, and I felt very on the fence. I called you and talked to you about it. I felt very on the fence about it. How my comments, they weren't disparaging to her, but I was comparing Rosemary to her, saying Rosemary was better, and then all of a sudden later that evening, she had passed away.
Yeah, but it's not even like you didn't even mean that she was better. It was just without Daphne, there would be no Rosemary. That's how I took the
1,000%.
Right.
And I did mean it like that. Which is why I allowed it to stay in the show, because I was this close to asking you to take it out of the show, because I didn't want people to take it the wrong way.
Which I also appreciate from an editing standpoint, because I'm not good at editing. So as anyone who ever listened to our show knows.
But I really wanted people to know that is what I meant. I do mean that without Daphne, you don't get a Rosemary, and I don't think you get certain characters. So what's her name? Su Young. Thank you.
You're pulling on me.
Yeah. All these like very dark characters, I think, took something from Daphne.
Yeah, Daphne came in at a time when Stacy Keeblers and Tori Wilsons were the women, and Major Guns in WCW, the Nitro Girls, and she brought this different look to her. Her work with CM Punk and Ring of Honor in the early days was very, very good. Her TNA run is grossly underrated.
Could not agree with you more. And she was probably the only good thing about David Flair.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Very true. So on behalf of...
She definitely will be missed. To see the amount of outpour of her peers in the wrestling business, they came out, from Mick Foley to Lufisto to Nikki Cross. Did you see that? Did you see how Nikki Cross came out and said that she based her insane character around Daphne?
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Yeah. So she was so influential, and I can only hope that she knew that.
It's extra sad too, because it seems like it's always the nicest and the kindest people that everybody else loves that can't find their own happiness and their own love for whatever reason it is. And mental illness is such a scary thing, and a lot of concussions that Daphne had. And Lufisto said it really well too. This business didn't treat her the way that it treated the business.
No,
and that's really sad.
This business did not do her justice at all.
And honestly, anybody listening to this, please, if you're going through anything, call somebody.
Always.
There's prevention lines. There's friends, family. Someone does care.
There's countingout7@gmail.com.
Email us if we don't even know you.
Shit. Yeah. Even if I've never met you in my life, I will talk to you.
100%, man. 100%. We love everybody listening to this show. The Count It Out crew. We love all you guys, man. And you know, and that's what we do. And the last couple of weeks on our show, we've talked about nothing but love. Our love for professional wrestling, our love for the current product. We love all our fans. We love everybody, all of our listeners, all of our supporters. Anybody that's ever having a hard time, please call somebody, email, anything you need to do. We just care. Everybody, somebody cares, you know?
Yeah.
I'm going to segue.
Right.
I'm going to segue out of this real quick before we get out of the list then. We talk about family. We said family. And Count It Out has welcomed a new member to our family as well.
Yes.
That's right. The debut episode of the Classic Match Classroom has dropped. It is available on YouTube and on Spotify, Anchor, anywhere you listen to a podcast. I highly recommend the YouTube version, personally, myself and
just for the amazing editing job that Anthony's done.
Absolutely. And
for sure.
I was just about to say, if you guys have not turned your attention to the Titantron, make sure you guys are checking out I believe it's at the Titantron with Anthony. It's not at the Titantron with Anthony, it's at the Titantron. Anthony is the host of the show. He is such a genius. He is so smart when it comes to professional wrestling, but he's young, 19, 20 years old, you know, and I am old. I am 40 years old. So I have taken,
I'm sorry, what?
I am very old. I'm almost as old as you, Mike. Not quite, though. So basically, the premise of the show is that I am the professor. Professor Tyler Wolf is taking the prodigy, Anthony, under his wing here, and we are going back and reliving some classic matches that Anthony has never seen before. And when I tell you the list of matches he's never seen before, like we're talking like Rock Austin, Bret Austin, Hogan Savage, like Hogan Andre, like all the classics.
Like it's crazy to me because I can't imagine any wrestling fan not watching this stuff.
Yeah, but he's young, so you don't have time to watch all this stuff. You know what I mean?
Like I suppose it's like us when if somebody was like, "Hey, did you see this San Martino match?"
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't watch any of San Martino until I was probably in my 20s or 30s.
Right. So basically what we do is we take a look at the angles leading up to the match, and we go and Anthony watches the match and gives his take on it. So the premiere episode, it's going to be in two parts. Part one is already posted as you listen to this. Bret Hart versus Steve Austin. It is the entire build up to their classic match in Madison Square Gardens at the Survivor Series. There are promo clips involved in this thing. We run through the whole build for it. Part two is going to be, of course, one of the greatest matches of all time, the I Quit match at WrestleMania 13.
The greatest WrestleMania match in history.
Yes. So that is going to drop every Sunday afternoon, I would assume. That's on Anthony. He does the editing. I love saying that, as I do all the editing for us.
Yeah, throw it on him, because I'm mad at Anthony. I wish it was coming out first thing in the morning so I could listen to it before I have to start work. It didn't come out till 2:00 this afternoon. I haven't had the chance to watch it yet. So
yeah, it's fantastic stuff. So that's at Classic Match Classroom. Look it up everywhere. Please like and subscribe to it. Let us know what you think. Of course, you can find that on www.countitout7.com.
Yeah.
Come on, you know I was going to get to the website, man. Come on, that's our baby. And speaking of our baby, I got a list to do today.
Woo! You know what? You know what makes me happy?
What's that?
We have been on a roll the last couple of weeks of really like getting along.
Yeah.
We did a couple of weeks where we're just like in tune and really, really lovey-dovey, being, this is what we love about wrestling, really being on tune. Finally, after so many weeks, you're going to talk about a guy I can't fucking stand.
That's right. I was inspired by your rant last week of CM Punk. So I decided this week I was going to count down the top 7 CM Punk career moments.
Woo!
And by the way, before we get in the list, did you happen to see CM Punk's off-air comments this week?
Oh.
So he addressed...
I stopped. I can't do it anymore. I can't.
He actually did address what he said. He addressed what he said last week. He must have been listening to our show, because he said, last week in a joking manner, I said, if you don't like it, then fuck off. He's like, what I mean to say is, like, obviously we love your feedback, but if you're just going to come and be a negative person, then fuck off.
Okay.
He must have heard you, Mike.
Yeah, he must have.
He must have heard
He
you.
didn't get the full fucking message, obviously, because he hasn't admitted who the real negative person is. But that's all right.
Listen, love the guy, hate the guy. You have to respect what this man has done in professional wrestling.
I'll never debate that.
He has changed the game.
I am not a fan of his from a personal or professional standpoint, but I will, like, you can't be a wrestling fan and not admit what he's done.
Absolutely. He's changed the game. He really opened up a lot of doors for a lot of people.
Here's my analogy to this. You know who else I'm not a big fan of when it comes to mask quality? I'm not a fan of Andre the Giant. But you know what? Who the fuck is going to say that Andre didn't do something for the business?
Absolutely.
You know, it's the same thing with Punk.
Yeah, I think without CM Punk coming into the WWE, I don't think that you see guys that are in the WWE now, like Seth Rollins, like Bryan Danielson.
I do think he opened that NXT door. You know, that door that NXT started bringing in all these, especially ROH guys.
Well, look at their roster now. It's the Ring of Honor roster from Punk's time. You know what I mean?
And Punk was the first one of the batch to come in, really. You know,
he's the guy that had to go through all the bullshit, but and he always said it as his catchphrase, "I'm the voice of the voiceless." But I really think he believed that. You know what I mean? I think he believed it too. I got the Bret Hart vibes off Punk.
I think he believed all the shit he fucking spewed. Doesn't mean I believed it.
Well, how about we get into the list? What do you think? You ready to jump into this? You ready to jump into Mike's favorite wrestler? I believe he was number 1 on your top 7 favorite male wrestlers of all time.
I'm sure he was.
We're going to start with a big one, man. Number 7, I'm going to talk about 434 days as WWE champion.
All right.
You got to respect the hell out of that.
Why?
Because you name me another world champion in this modern age that held the WWE world title for that long.
I'm just not sure why that's an accomplishment.
Because,
I mean, let's break it down to what it really fucking is.
Okay.
In a scripted sport, it's politics.
Now we're going to a scripted sport. Well, I think we're going to fight this week a lot. I think you're just coming right out to hate my list just because you want to hate it.
No. I'm not saying I hated the fact that he was champion that long, because I don't. I think it was a right move, storyline wise, kayfabe wise, for him to be the champion that long. I have no problem with him being a champion that long, but it's not an accomplishment. He didn't do anything. He was given it.
Okay, so then fuck Bruno Sammartino's title reign of 7 years and
100%.
Fuck everybody's
on Bruno's fucking reign.
So fuck everybody's title reign.
7 years and 6 defenses. Don't give me that shit.
What are you talking about? The guy was every month at Madison Square Garden.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, no title reign is ever important or impressive in professional wrestling, according to Mike.
Oh, I never do not. Fucking.
Well, but it's kayfabe and scripted, man.
I'm just saying that you can't put prove it's an accomplishment just because he's done it.
Okay, so Ric Flair being a 16-time world champion is nothing. John Cena, any title reign he has won is nothing.
I'm not saying
every single title reign means nothing according to your theory right now.
No. I am not saying it's nothing. It's definitely worth being mentioned.
But your company had enough faith in you to make you the guy. Now, granted, Cena was always the guy, but they put their biggest belt on him for over a year. Your company had enough faith in you to carry the ball for over a year.
Okay.
Right? You can't sit here and say, well, who cares because it's fake and kayfabe.
No.
Because then you're just shitting on every single title reign of all time.
I'm just arguing with you to get you to fucking. I want you to defend your fucking choices.
Listen, I'm not our good friend Jay and our better enemy. Jay lets Tyrone get away with a lot. You're not fucking getting away with this shit on me. I love you, Jay, but you fight Tyrone, man. You fight that motherfucker, because I'm gonna fight this motherfucker right now. CM Punk, 434 days as champion. classic matches against Daniel Bryan,
I'm
great
just saying,
feud
not
against Dolph
every-
Ziggler,
not every
great
so-called
feud against Chris
accomplishment.
Jericho, fantastic matches against John Cena. He took Ryback, who was green as fuck, to matches where people thought that Ryback was going to be the world champion, and then finally drops the belt to this guy. I don't know if you ever heard of him, named The Rock. Terrible, terrible stuff, right?
I didn't say it was bad. I'm just
You
saying.
did.
No, I didn't. Did the exact opposite of what I said. I said I liked his run as champion. I liked the fact that they made him a long time champion. I'm saying that you're putting it on a list of accomplishments.
That is an accomplishment. Nobody else in that era, except for John Cena, had a run that long.
Okay. Number 6.
You want me to change my number 7? Number 7,
I
Survivor
don't
Series 2003, when the crowd goes crazy for him against Triple H. How about that? Does that
I
make
don't
you
want you to
happy?
change shit. Let's
Does that
go to
make
your
you
number
happy?
6.
Number 6, we're going. Mike is already. I'm so glad I could drink this week, man, because you're gonna get it. We are going to be the good friends, bitter enemies this week. Number 6, I'm going all the way back.
That makes me Tyrone.
Well, I'm going to be a meaner Jay. I can't do the Finkel like the Jay does. Fuck, he's very talented. And Jay, by the way, his booking is very good as well. So
his booking is good, but I'm Tyrone because I'm going to be the dick this week.
Why, are you going to tell me to grow the fuck up?
Yeah, grow the fuck up, Tyler.
Listen, this is going to be the test to see if Jay and Tyrone listen to our show. Okay?
Can that be one of our first T-shirts?
Grow the fuck up.
We need a good friends, better enemy shirt that says "Grow the fuck up" on the back.
I love it. I love
it.
Yeah. Like I said, this is going to be the test to see if Jay and Tyrone actually listen to our show.
Exactly. We'll find out.
Number 6, we're going back all the way to CM Punk's last match in Ring of Honor at Punk the Final Chapter. Technically, it was the second last match. I get it, everybody. But him versus Colt Cabana, 2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah. I watched this long after it was originally aired. Unfortunately, I was not into the ROH product at the time. And I get it. I know this was the hottest era of ROH.
This is so funny because this is when I was into it. We missed each other on the Ring of Honor train.
I missed the hottest era of ROH, and I get it. I've been trying to catch up in the last few years. I have seen this match though.
It's hard to find,
I only saw it because I borrowed a DVD from a guy like 3 years ago. It's the only reason I saw it. And it is a phenomenal match. But every single time you put CM Punk and Colt in the ring, they had this chemistry, this magic together every single time.
Mm-hmm.
They had their first match in ROH together too, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, and it's because of each other that they got into Ring of Honor, because before Ring of Honor, they were tearing the house down all over the place.
All over the Indies,
It got them noticed, and Ring of Honor booked them.
If I remember properly, the story they were telling is he came out, made his debut, CM Punk made his debut, and then Colt came out and said, "Why'd you get the call?"
No, I think from what I remember is they fought each other and Cabana beat him, and then I'll never forget it, they shot a vignette after because they drove together to the show. So the vignette was them in the car after the show. And Punk was so mad that he lost, and he was driving, and Cabana was gloating, but without realizing that he was gloating.
Yeah.
And Punk's like, I got to drive 13 hours with this guy in the car. And Punk just got mad and started walking in a snowstorm away. And Cabana's like, where are you going? Come back.
That's so funny.
It was a great vignette. And these guys had such a great history in Ring of Honor.
They had a great history everywhere they went.
It's really sad they had a falling out, eh?
Yeah, and I'm not sure where they stand now. They work in the same company now, so I don't know where they stand at the moment. I'm sure, even if they're friendly, I'm sure their relationship is not the same as it was. And I don't give a fuck whose side you're on, whether you're on Punk's side, Colt's side. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
It's just sad.
It's just unfortunate that 2 guys who are really good friends and did so much magic together in the ring. They just had that falling out. It's very sad. But talk about that match.
Well, you know what? For me, this moment isn't on my list because of the match. Like, the match was great, but it's just the emotion going into it. You know what I mean? Punk had just finished the Summer of Punk run that he did, which I guarantee you we're going to talk about very soon. He comes out bawling his eyes out. Like, you could just tell how much Ring of Honor meant to him, how much he loved Ring of Honor. You know, he was the trainer in their dojo for a long time. Mm-hmm. He was the guy that, you know, put the company on his back during all the transitional periods with Rob Feinstein and transferring over to Gabe. And there's a lot of dark times in Ring of Honor. He left TNA because he wanted to stay with Ring of Honor and because he got kind of fired for fighting Teddy Hart. But we all know he would have picked Ring of Honor over TNA at that point anyways.
Exactly.
Just the love. And this was one of the first kind of big send-offs that ever happened in wrestling. Like, this was a different and a new thing. When he hit the ring and the streamers that just littered the ring, like, you only saw that in Japan at that time. Exactly. That wasn't a North American thing. Thank you for bringing
that up. Adam and I talked about this recently, how people were so upset. They had at Best in the World, they had banned streamers for COVID protocols, and fans were so pissed.
I get that.
Me too. And fans were so pissed off. Adam flat out said, he goes, "It's not even a fucking ROH thing. No, it's a fucking Japan thing."
Yeah,
and that's 100% true. The ROH fans adopted it from Japan, but a lot of people forget that it came from Japan first.
I love when the match is over, the whole locker room emptied out. They all showered Punk with bottles of Pepsi, which I thought was funny. They were drinking Pepsi out of champagne glasses. Punk's parents were in the ring. It was a very touching, very beautiful moment. And it was in Chicago. Something about that city and CM Punk. Obviously, he's the hometown guy, but they create magic together.
Well, that and the fact that, and he had the match with Colt, who's also from Chicago.
Yeah.
And the fact that the two best friends from the same city in that city, it just made sense.
Yeah, it was great. So that's my number 6.
Okay.
Was it okay with you?
I'm very good with that one.
From a kayfabe standpoint, we're okay here.
Number 5, asshole.
Number 5, I'm going to put on my personal favorite match that he had in the WWE. And that's CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar from SummerSlam.
Okay.
All
right. So sell me on this, man. I remember thinking this match was way better than it had any fucking business being. I remember going into the match thinking that, Brock's just going to squash him or something like that. Like, it's not. I remember expecting to be upset by it, and I remember being very surprised and pleasantly surprised by it.
I think this is the second best SummerSlam of all time.
But sell me on this being your number 5.
So let's talk about
all-time Punk moments.
This is number 5. I think this match is fucking amazing. And let's get into the storyline though, because instead of going over any of my points that I had written down for Punk's title reign, which instead we just yelled at each other about, Punk was magical with Paul Heyman. Those guys were so good together. Yeah. Paul Heyman had turned on CM Punk a month before this at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, cracked him in the head with the ladder. Punk is out to get revenge against Heyman. Well, guess who comes to Heyman's aid? Fucking Brock Lesnar, right?
Yeah.
Brock just dummied Punk around on all the build up to the show, but Punk would keep getting up. Brock could not put Punk down for good no matter what he did. And that's the story that they told in this match. This was the first Brock Lesnar match. The blueprint for it has now been copied by guys like AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Finn Balor. This was the first one where Brock came out, was a dominant beast, and Punk would get the hope spots, right? But the little touches that they did in this match, every time Punk would get the advantage, because it was a no DQ match, right? So there was weapons and whatever. And every time Punk would get rolling, Paul Heyman would interfere. And Punk would be so focused on, I just want to kill Paul Heyman. I want to get my hands on him. I hate him now. He is my enemy. And Punk would always go for Paul to inflict that punishment, right? And so just the little things like that I really liked. I thought Brock Lesnar selling for Punk was genius. I thought Punk fighting as the underdog was amazing. They just told such a great, believable story in the ring. Because it's not like Punk went out and went toe-to-toe with Brock. Brock beat the shit out of him. but he couldn't keep Scrappy Punk down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The rare hidden gem about this is the next night on Raw, because Brock goes over, rightfully so, right? Punk came out and he was so pissed off. And I'll never forget, he's wearing a Chicago Blackhawks jersey. I don't know what town they were in, but I know the Blackhawks were, I think they just won the Stanley Cup at that point. And he didn't come out as, okay, on to the next storyline. He came out pissed off because he lost a match that he wanted to win, which nobody ever does anymore. You know what I mean? It drives me crazy that people don't value wins and losses anymore, to the point where he was challenging fans to fight him. Do you remember this promo?
I don't.
Some fan in the front row heckled Punk or something, and he turned around and he turned into indie CM Punk, where he was just like, I am in a terrible mood tonight. If you got something to say to me, get your ass in the ring and fight me right now. And I'm like, this is on Monday Night Raw. Like, it was an awesome promo. I highly recommend going out of your way to check out this promo. Fantastic match, fantastic build up to the match. And then, Curtis Axel got involved, and that turned to shit with the Heyman feud after that, but whatever.
Yeah.
What could have been?
Yeah.
What could have been?
Yeah, that they dropped the ball there. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against Curtis Axel. I think he's extremely talented, but his run as a Heyman guy was
not good.
Yeah,
not good. Number 4. Ready for number 4?
I am, man, because you got me with your 5 and 6, or your 4 and 5. You got me. So let's do this.
Number 4, we're going back to what could be the most famous, or one of the most famous matches in the history of Ring of Honor, and that would be Joe versus Punk 2.
Okay. Yeah.
This was
I'm actually surprised this is your 4.
I wanted it to be lower.
It shouldn't surprise me because it's you, so I probably already know your 1 and 2, which is horse shit.
I mean, they can't not be.
This they can and will.
This should not be a number 1 or 2.
It should be 2, but
it should not be 2.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Listen, this match is fantastic. It is not that this guy means anything anymore, because his credibility has gone to absolute fucking shit. But when this match happened, a guy named Dave Meltzer was very respected.
He was Samoa Joe for a minute. I'm like, what the fuck?
No. Dave Meltzer was very respected back when this match happened, and people gave a fuck what he had to say because he wasn't a douchebag like he is now.
No, he was. He just didn't.
He was. He was just less of a douchebag. How about that? Is that better? He was still respected at this time. His work was still respected.
We just didn't know how much of a douchebag he was.
He just didn't have Twitter at this point. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. This was the first match in North America in 7 years to get the Dave Meltzer 5-star rating. The match before that was Hell in a Cell, Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker.
Yeah.
This match and that star rating gave instant credibility to Ring of Honor at a time when they really needed it. Because this was at the time period where the transition was happening from taking over from what's his face, Diddle Boy, Feinstein, from Feinstein to Carey, right? So Ring of Honor was in a dark place. They lost a bunch of talent to TNA. You like that one? I lost Mike. Mike is broken. Diddle Boy is broken. Mike.
I love it so much.
Well, he is. Fuck that guy. Right? We're going count it out today, baby. The drinks are flowing.
Only listeners of The Lasting Mark will get this joke. But from now on, Rob Feinstein is the new Lawrence Taylor.
There you go. But yeah, okay, go ahead. So this match happened. So this was the second of 3 matches these guys had. The first match went an hour. Second match went an hour. The third match was a wild brawl, went about 45 minutes. They were all great matches. Did you ever hear the story about how Punk and Joe decided to go an hour?
No.
So there's a couple shoot interviews that Punk and Joe did back in the day with RF Video, and they're really funny. And I think Joe is pretty drunk in the one. This is when they're very young, you know what I mean? And the story goes that Punk got booked to fight Joe, who was the biggest monster on the planet at this time. You know what I mean? This is right in the middle of his legendary Ring of Honor world title reign, which our listeners have voted as the greatest Ring of Honor champion of all time. Rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
So this is right in the middle of that run. And Joe's a monster. And Punk was kind of floundering a little bit. He didn't really have a lot going on. So he found Samoa Joe, who was absolutely pissed drunk, apparently, as the story goes, and said, "Hey, man, can we go an hour? I need to go an hour. I need something. You know what I mean? I'm floundering right now. I need something." And Joe was drunk and was like, yeah, okay, we'll do it. Just what? I'll do it with you, but Gabe's got to sign off. Gabe will never go for it. We'll get Gabe to sign off for it. So Punk's like, okay, well, fuck, I know Joe's drunk. And I know he's not going to want to do it if he's sober. So Punk's like, he called Gabe right away, pitched him the idea. Gabe's like, well, we got to get Joe to say yeah. And Punk's like, I already got Joe to say yeah. He's like, okay, we're going to do it. So sober Joe was not too happy that he agreed to do it. But that's the story to that match as told by those guys. It's really funny. This match is a wrestling clinic. I haven't watched it in a long time.
Go an hour, man. Listen.
It's a throwback to the NWA title days, man. Your champion needs to be able to go an hour.
And it's not often, and unfortunately, it's not often these days I want to see a guy go an hour.
You know why? Because the way they book our matches now are in Iron Man matches, and I hate Iron Man matches.
I don't hate Iron Man matches. I don't. I hate the majority Iron Man matches I've seen, but I don't hate the concept of it. And I think when it's done properly, it can be really fucking good.
Yeah.
However, I agree with you. I think a 1 hour match, it should be organic. You shouldn't be expecting it to go an hour. You should be counting down the minutes for it to go an hour. It should just go an hour. One of my favorite matches in the history of the WWE is John Cena versus Shawn Michaels.
Thank you. That's the way it should be.
When on an episode of fucking Raw,
they were like 57 minutes.
Who expected them to go Broadway? Like no one expected them to go a full hour on Raw.
Yeah.
Back when, and this is back when Raw's only 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know,
that was fantastic. It's touted as one of the best matches in Monday Night Raw history.
100%. And that goes with Punk and Joe. They just did it. It wasn't, here you go, here's an hour-long match. No, it was here you go. Two great wrestlers in a match that happened to go for an hour. Excuse me. And it was just so good that you were able to stay there for an hour.
I've never watched somebody work a headlock like Punk worked it and actually keep me entertained by it. Like the first 15 minutes of this match is Punk working a headlock, and it's so fucking genius, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the Ring of Honor put out 2 fantastic DVDs, and I own both of them, and I will lend them to you when I find them because I'm still unpacking from my move. The first one is Joe versus Punk, and it is their entire rivalry. It is all 3 of their matches. It is interviews, promos leading up to it, all that fun stuff.
I'm a big fan of the sequel, Joe versus the Volcano.
Oh, God.
That's a Tom Hanks joke.
Way to kill my momentum, man. Way to kill my momentum. The second DVD that they put out is my number 3, and that is The Summer of Punk.
So this whole thing is a moment for you?
That's it. The whole Summer of Punk is a moment.
This entire fucking, what was that, like a fucking 5-month span?
You're goddamn right. I found a cheat code.
This is a moment for you. I
found a cheat code, much like I found a cheat code for my number 2.
All right.
Listen, The Summer of Punk. It's called The Summer of Punk.
This is the ROH Summer.
ROH Summer of Punk, not the WWE Summer of Punk, which I'll bitch about in a minute, and not the AEW Summer of Punk, which it's not even the fucking summer. So like, but I get what they're going for. The 3 summers of Punk. I'm fine with it, but it's not summer. Whatever. We'll give it a pass. Sure. The ROH Summer of Punk is the best.
Speaking of which, sorry to cut you off. Did you see that part of Cardona's promo?
No, I missed it.
It's not the Summer of Punk. It's the Summer of Matt fucking Cardona. It's amazing.
Listen, we all know Rory Fox is going to beat the shit out of Matt Cardona, right? Rory's my boy. He's texting me. We're texting.
The Summer of Fox, baby.
The Summer of Fox, baby. Get the Wayne's World.
Could that be another Canada shirt? We need to get a Summer of Fox shirt.
Foxy, yeah, that's the Wayne's World. Come on.
I'm gonna get a Summer of Fox shirt made for Canada.
I love it.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
So the Summer of Punk. Let's go back to the beginning for it, because like I could have just made a whole list of the Summer of Punk, the reality, right? It's so good. But let's go to the beginning. CM Punk's last match in Ring of Honor has been signed. He is challenging for the Ring of Honor World Championship against Austin Aries. Everybody just assumes, you know what, Punk's going to lose. He's going to do a little thank you, I love you, Ring of Honor. And then he'll be an OVW being a WWE guy.
Yeah.
Motherfucker wins the world title. And then everyone's like, oh my God, they're going to let Punk go as champion. This is fantastic. And then he gets on the microphone and cuts this promo that is so good. And he turns heel. He turns heel on his. Everyone's like,
what? We'll talk about this. We'll talk about this later. What is this? Your number 3?
This is my number 3. It was almost my number 2.
And it should be, because I know what your number 2 is, and it fucking angers me to no end.
I know, but I have a reason. I have a reason why. I have a reason why my number 2 is my number 2, and because this is my favorite Punk angle of all time, right? But I just can't look over my number 2 for what it is. Sure. And we'll get to it. Let's enjoy the moment of number 3 here. Okay. Let's enjoy the moment. So Punk cuts this promo basically like, I am taking this Ring of Honor title and I'm going to hand it to Vince McMahon and blah, blah, blah. And then the returning Christopher Daniels, who has not been on TV because he wasn't allowed to be, because he went to TNA and they wouldn't let their contract be associated with Diddle Boy. So he couldn't be in there. But the last time you saw Christopher Daniels, CM Punk took him out of the company. So it all made sense, right? Then everybody thinks that Christopher Daniels is going to win the belt on the spot, but Punk leaves out the back door. You know, then you see CM Punk come out.
Back door.
Thank you. I'll be here all week, everybody.
Oh, shit.
So CM Punk leaves. Next time you see him, CM Punk is in a fucking suit, which is not CM Punk at all. And he is signing his WWE contract as a shoot, by the way, on the Ring of Honor World Championship title. What a piece of shit. Mick Foley was heavily involved in this angle, saying you got to do the right thing. You got to defend it. Punk, fight Christopher Daniels, fight Samoa Joe, fight James Gibson. Punk says, nah, I'm going to fight Jay Lethal. Now, what you're hearing me say is like, well, yeah, Jay Lethal's the fucking man. Well, this Jay Lethal was a rookie who was Samoa Joe's protege. And Punk was the first guy that gave Jay Lethal a rub, right? Then the same thing with Roderick Strong. I'm going to fight Roderick Strong in New York. Well, guess what? Punk gave him a rub on his way out too, right? Yep. Then he finally beats Christopher Daniels. He cheats to beat all these other guys, and he finally drops the belt in the fatal 4-way match to James Gibson versus Samoa Joe versus Christopher Daniels. Awesome match. Awesome work by Punk here. He left the company making it better than what it was before. He 100%. Had a buzz around the company. He put new stars over, including James Gibson as the champion. And then the next night he went off to do the swan song on my number 6 with Colt Cabana. Great. You know what? I should have just cheated and put the Cabana match in there too. If I'm going to cheat, I might as well go all the way, right?
Yeah.
But
all right. I'm just going to put out my opinion right here. This whole number 3, like from beginning to end, Summer Punk, this should have been your number 1. This whole thing.
I agree. I think this is the best work that Punk has ever done.
The promo alone deserves to be, like, if you separate the promo from Summer of Punk, that deserves to be your number 2. The rest of Summer of Punk deserves to be your number 1.
I really think that this is my favorite work that CM Punk has done. But I'm looking at this in a bigger picture. And that's why my number 2 is a combination between the pipe bomb promo / Money in the Bank versus John Cena.
Okay, you got me with Money in the Bank. I'll give you that. But the pipe bomb can go fuck itself.
Listen, I get it.
The most overrated, overhyped promo in the history of.
But it wasn't at the time. I am sick of the pipe bomb promo myself right now. It is not my favorite work. I think he's done better promos. His promo against Raven, where he said that you pissed away more than I've ever had. Like that is CM Punk at his finest. Yeah. But you cannot you cannot take away from the importance of this moment. So while it is not my personal favorite moment of all time of Punk's, from a historical standpoint, this is one of the biggest moments that he has ever done. He was basically given a live microphone on Monday Night Raw and said, you can say whatever you want.
I don't believe that for 1 second.
And that's the story that I've heard from many people that I've read.
I don't believe for 1 second he didn't have to pass all that shit through Vince first.
I don't think he did. Because, and I'll tell you why.
I don't believe it for
I'll tell you why.
minute.
Because Paul Heyman has a very similar story. Paul Heyman's, his promo he did on Vince before Survivor Series.
Yeah.
I hate you. You. Vince didn't know a thing that Heyman was going to say.
I don't. I truly think that we have been led down a path to believe that the pipe bomb was somewhat of a shoot, and I think it was 100% a work.
It is a work. It's a work shoot. It wasn't a shoot.
No, I don't even think it's a work shoot.
Of course it was.
No, and that's fine. You can.
It was.
You believe what you want to believe. I believe what I want to believe.
I believe that it's a work.
I'm the same guy who thinks the fucking Montreal Screwjob was a work. So
you're an idiot then.
Well, no.
The Montreal Screwjob was not a work.
Okay. And we're going to agree.
This promo was.
Agree to disagree.
This promo was a work, though. Punk was given time. He was said he's allowed to say whatever he wants. But he didn't go out there and just cut a promo.
What I'm saying is that they knew everything he was going to say before he said it.
Even if they did, who gives a shit? Because nobody has ever seen something like that on WWE TV before. Joey Styles did a good one, yeah.
No, that's not exactly true. I mean, Taker did a fucking very similar promo years ago where he broke kayfabe. I mean, it's the fucking time he came out in a fucking tracksuit.
Oh yeah, that was a bad promo.
But
is that where he's talking about burying the Big Show in the desert?
No.
Oh, okay.
Big Show wasn't even in the company. This is like 97 Taker.
Oh yeah. I remember.
This is Taker feuding with Bret Hart. Taker.
Yeah. I remember that one. But again, this you can't take away from the moment of this promo. You know, you want to say, like, obviously, Mike, this is a work.
I'm not saying it doesn't belong in your number 7. I'm saying it doesn't belong at your number 2.
It's literally what people still to this day go pipe bomb. People still refer to it as a pipe bomb. A bunch of
fucking neckbeards in their mama's basement.
You have a neckbeard right now, and I guarantee you might be sitting in a basement at this point.
I'm not in my basement.
Okay.
And it's not that necky.
Oh, you bastard. But come on, man. You cannot take away from this promo. As overplayed as it is, as overhyped as it is now, this promo changed a lot of things. And the build-up to this was awesome. The build-up to this match was great. It was basically, I'm leaving the company. And his contract was actually up, so it generated that realness to it. Everything was a work. Yes, let's call a spade a spade. Punk got some freedom on the microphone. He said hi to Colt Cabana, which was cool.
He said
when Vince McMahon dies, whatever, shocking. But his promo
that's the stuff. Like the Vince McMahon stuff and the Triple H and Stephanie shit.
I don't think Vince doesn't care about shit like that. I think Triple H cares about shit like that. I think Triple H has a bigger ego than Vince McMahon. I'm putting that out there for the world. I think Vince can put his ego down if it's best for business. I think Triple H is a mark for himself.
I think you'd be right about 20 years ago. I don't think that's true anymore, but okay.
Hey, man, I don't know. We'll see. I just feel like Triple H, I don't think that he can let things go like Vince can.
That's why Vince took a very successful brand that Triple H is responsible for away from Triple H for no fucking reason.
I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
I don't agree with what's going on there either.
Let's talk about Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank, that crowd again. Where are we? Chicago.
Let me give you one of my favorite fucking still shots of all time.
That kiss, yeah, and you can see it right below as we talk about this. That kiss, what a moment, man.
Yeah.
And then he went home and put the belt in his fridge. But before we get to all that stuff, the match itself was fantastic. Another 5-star match from Dave Meltzer.
They had a lot of great matches. I don't give a fuck what people say. People want to shit all over Cena, especially during this era. People are booing the fuck out of him. Fuck those guys.
Yeah.
Cena and Punk. I'm going to go ahead and say that Cena is probably my favorite rival of Punk in WWE.
If I were to do CM Punk's top rivals, which was what a list I was thinking about doing this week, Cena would be in my top 3 for him.
100%. I think that like my top at least 2 or 3 would have been rivals from him from ROH and maybe,
Jimmy Wave would have been on my list.
As far as WWE goes, though,
number 1.
I don't think he did better than Cena.
No, he didn't. They brought the best out of each other.
They definitely did. And I would say the same for Cena. I would say that CM Punk is, I don't know if he's the best rival Cena ever had, because Cena's career was longer and he was on top longer.
Edge and The Rock.
Yeah, he had a lot of big names. But again, top 3.
Do you think that Cena? Do you think that WrestleMania 29 should have been a triple threat with Punk in it, with Rock and Cena?
I've never given that thought before.
Because The Rock beat Punk for the belt and then just kind of fucked off back to Cena, and they put Punk with Taker, which was a great build or whatever. But do you think that I really think they should have made it a triple threat? Because I would have liked them to kept that once in a lifetime build.
That's a really good. That's a good thought. I'd have to give thought to that. If only there was a show on our YouTube channel that rebooked events. Maybe that could be done.
You know what? We're putting over Good Friends, Better Enemies too much this week. Fuck those. I'm just kidding, boys. We love you. If you're listening,
I don't give a fuck about putting them over. I'm putting up our putting over our YouTube. 10,000 views.
Over 10,000 views on our YouTube. Thank you to everybody, and thank you to Nikita Koloff, because you are carrying a load right now.
As we stand right now, Nikita's 3 videos collectively hold like 5,000 views. That's half of our views are just Nikita.
Absolutely, man. That is at Counted Out 7 on YouTube. Like us, subscribe to us. I promise you there's some cool shit on there. Promise you, including this video you're watching right now. So hit subscribe, motherfuckers.
Please hit subscribe. Listen, I can't push that enough. I gotta take a second and say that viewing it is one thing. We love you for it, but hit that subscribe button, because the more you hit subscribe, the more people hit subscribe, the more we can give to you.
Before we get to number 1,
we want to do a lot more.
Absolutely.
And we need subscriptions to do that.
Before we get to number 1, I want to talk about the follow-up of this, which I think they dropped the ball on. CM Punk leaves the company, puts his belt in the fridge. He showed up at a Comic-Con, which was great. Yes. Showed up at an indie show, which was great. And then they brought him back, and that pissed me off.
I could not agree with you more. Back in the WrestleMania days, there was a show called We Have Till 5.
Great.
And it was hosted at the time by Andrew Kent and Adam Conton. And Andrew was tasked this particular week to do the top 5 returns of all time. And I don't remember what number it was. I think it was his number 1 or 2. And it was Punk. And Adam was furious, saying
he should be.
Saying this he was gone for 2 weeks. Like, how is this a return?
Yeah,
this is not and I could not agree with Adam more. They should have kept, if they were going to do something, if they wanted to do something real special, they should have kept Punk out longer.
I agree. Speaking of returns, I mean, that segues right into number 1, man. You're talking about returns. The number 1 moment on my list is the moment that CM Punk said himself was the greatest moment of his career. That was the return to AEW.
Okay.
I know. Oh, AEW. Can you make a CM Punk?
Why are you such a dick?
Because I'm drinking and you pissed me off at my number 7 and I'm holding a grudge.
I have been nothing but good to you from your number fucking 6 and on.
Because I'm great at making lists.
I disagree with your order a little bit, but I've been fine with you. I disagree with this.
What do you think my number 1 should be?
I already
Summer
told you, Summer Punk. Yes. This should be closer to like number 5.
I mean, I've never seen anything like this in wrestling before.
I would put this. The only thing I agree with you is I would put this over the fucking pipe bomb.
Yeah,
I agree with you there. This was better than the pipe bomb, but I think the pipe bomb should be your number 6.
So running from Mia here.
Mia.
Baby Mia has done a running on the show.
Me to do a run. My cats don't love me enough to do a running. They're
Okay.
running around the house though.
My fat one wants food, I think. But listen, people were crying in the crowd during this.
Yeah.
This moment, it was just done right. You know what I mean? That's one of the loudest crowds I've ever heard in my entire life of watching wrestling in over 30 years. I just thought everything about it was great. You know, the timing worked out. The promo was fine. I know you didn't like it. You thought he was bashing WWE. We've talked about this on air before. Mm-hmm. The challenge and he put over Britt Baker right away. He put over Darby Allin right away. I just thought this was such a fucking great moment in wrestling. And if CM Punk is going on record, what one's that?
That's Linus.
We got Linus and Mia running in today. It's a kiddie show. These last two moments.
We got no Lucy's.
No Lucy's though. The Lucy's are big time in us. But yeah, man, that part, by the way, was done just strictly for you, Adam. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, to me, this was the moment. There was no question in my mind about it. I thought that to get emotion, tell me a professional wrestler right now that people are this passionate about other than Nick Gage.
Oh, damn.
I knew you were going to say Nick Gage because he's got that too, though. But he's got that too. But I think Punk and Gage are the only people that are genuinely getting that type of emotion out of you.
I'm going to go on an argument here. This is for argument's sake, and say Becky Lynch. Becky got a hell of a fucking. Listen to me. I'm going to tell you that Becky's reaction was equal to or greater than Punk's for this reason. Punk's was in an arena. Lynch's was in a fucking stadium.
Yes.
They sounded the fucking same, which means Lynch's was louder.
With also more people. I get it because stadiums, you get lost the sound. I get all that, man.
I'm saying that Becky Lynch is beloved right now. The only problem we're not.
So that's why they're going to turn her heels,
right?
And that's why they want to turn her heel.
Yeah.
I'm not here to shit on the WWE, but that's fucking stupid.
Thank you.
Sorry, I got a little fired up there. But I disagree with you. I don't think Becky's on that level. Becky is very close to that level. And I know, okay, listen, everybody, I know it's Chicago. I get it. Hometown. They have a lot of history. Let's stick
with the same show then. Brock got a hell of a fucking reception that night too.
Who?
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, and that's why I think Becky got lost in the shuffle between Punk and Brock.
No, but you're comparing. You're saying that nobody gets that other than Punk.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that nobody draws that emotion out of people than Punk and Nick Gage. I think they're the only two people that draw that special kind of emotion out of you.
Okay.
People will fucking die for Nick Gage. His army, his GCW crew, they will fuck you up. I believe that.
Motherfucking gang.
And CM Punk is making people cry. And anyone who makes fun of that fan can fuck right off too, as far as I'm concerned.
Man, we didn't talk about this, but how much do you love Tommy Dreamer for fucking reaching out and saying, hey, first of all, anybody who makes fun of that guy can go fuck themselves. Secondly, somebody put me in touch with him because I'm going to bring him to fucking All Out and he can meet everybody he wants to meet.
That's what it's all about.
You know
what I mean?
I already love Tommy Dreamer. I already know Tommy Dreamer's a fucking great human being.
Yeah.
But that just solidifies it, man. Like this is not, you can't compare him to the it's still real to me, damn it, guy.
No, I like a little bit.
A little bit, but not. Like this guy this is what he loves. You know? This kid, like, I get it. I really, really understood his emotion. I wouldn't have gotten that emotion over Punk, but not Punk.
Yeah.
I think of if I, and this is on my bucket list, by the way, I plan on doing this one day. If I was in the fucking crowd at the fucking Showboat in Atlantic City, where GCW does the majority of their shows, and I was front row and Nick fucking Gage was making his entrance, 1000%, I'd be one of those guys.
Yeah.
Just fucking going that shit.
You know why I'm not going to ever make fun of a guy like the crying fan and the Punk thing? Because I've been in a crowd and I've cried before. I've done it. Not for wrestling. I did it at the Tragically Hip final concerts. I went to 4 of them.
That makes
every time that they played, it was either Grace Tour or Head by a Century. I can't remember. I fucking cried, man. And I am not afraid to admit it one bit. You got a problem with it? Then don't fucking listen to my show anymore.
You need a heart. You need a heart of stone to not cry during those shows, man.
Oh man, they were beautiful.
Watching it on television made me cry. So I get.
I went to 4 of their last 12 shows, and I cried at all 4 of them. Yeah. And I wasn't the only person because I love something and I let myself get invested.
And there's no difference because Gord Downey, and not just Gord Downey, but the Tragically Hip touched so many people with their art. Mm-hmm. Which can be the same thing can be said of CM Punk and pretty much any professional wrestler and professional wrestling company.
That's right.
So I get it. I get it 100%. And I will never make fun of a fan like that crying do that at all.
No, and you know what? The whole thing that Punk did, though, that crowd, it was the perfect way to bring him in because they didn't say he was coming in, but everybody knew he was coming in.
Everybody knew. And the fact that they opened with it,
was
genius.
The pop is one of the loudest I've ever heard.
There is something to be said about a good tease, and there's something to be said about waiting till the end of the show for your big thing. No. But this was not that time. They knew they needed to open with their attraction because the fans just weren't going to be into it.
They waited 7 years for it, man. They waited 7 years for it. And you know what?
What I love, there was no announcement. There was no, ladies and gentlemen, CM Punk. The music hit and the fans went fucking loco.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was great.
I am not going to shit on this, dude. I'm not going to say that it was a horrible moment because it is one of the greatest moments of modern wrestling. I will give you this.
It's one of the greatest moments in CM Punk's career. Is it his best work ever? No.
I just don't like it being your number one.
Listen,
and
Summer of Punk, Ring of Honor.
All the time. It doesn't matter who does the list. A lot of times we agree with the list, we just disagree with the order. And in this case, I definitely disagree with the order.
Yeah, but I understand that. And to me, if you're looking at body of work, Summer of Punk is what I think CM Punk's best body of work is. Yeah. And if I was talking about his best body of work, it would be my number one. But I'm not. I'm talking about career moments. And this moment was a bigger moment than the Summer of Punk.
Sure.
And the pipe bomb promo is one of the most influential promos in WWE history, which, it's right up there with Piper smashing a coconut because people remember it. People remember that promo.
I don't agree with that.
You don't have to agree with it, but everybody else does. Is it as good of a promo? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a promo that people talk about.
Maybe it's just because I'm not
years
later.
Later.
When it comes to memory, man, I'm gonna think of Roddy and the coconut, and I'm gonna think of fucking Sean in the barbershop window, and I'm gonna think of stuff like that.
So that wasn't a promo. That was an angle.
Long before I think of Punk.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You know what? I guarantee you, if you ask wrestling fans right now to name your top 5 promos of all time, this Punk promo will be on the majority of people's list. That pipe.
Yeah, you're probably right.
It'll be right up there with Hard Times by Dusty Rhodes, The Coconut, The Barbershop. They'll all be on there. Anything Ric Flair from the 80s. All that stuff is there. But the Punk promo belongs in that category with it. You can't take
Let's just say that if we were to do top 7 promos of all time, our list would be very different.
Well, yeah, your list would be wrong and mine would be perfect. List like every time we do a list. Except for the last 2 weeks, because both of our lists were great. Before we take it home, since we are on the topic of CM Punk, this is something that I've never talked to you about. I've been meaning to ask you about this for about a month now, and I just keep forgetting. Have you watched the show Heels yet?
Not yet, no.
Because CM Punk was just on it the last week.
Yes, he was. I have for the time being, until the month of October, I have suspended my subscription to Crave TV.
Okay.
Maybe it was just one of the things that didn't fit to the budget for the last 4 or 5 months. But one of my favorite shows of all time, Dexter, is coming back next month. So I will
Dark Side of the Ring.
As is Dark Side of the Ring. So these are 2 reasons why I will be getting my Crave back. So I plan on catching up on Heels at that point in time.
I have watched the first 3 episodes of it. It is fucking awesome.
Oh, I'm so happy.
If you're a wrestling fan, you will like this. And you know what? Even if you're not a wrestling fan, you will like it. It is depressing as hell. Don't get me wrong. It is dark, but it is fucking great.
I'm a massive fan of Stephen Amell.
Mm-hmm. They play a great role.
As a big geek, I'm a big fan of Stephen's old show Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he's a hometown boy, man. He's from Toronto. He's one of us. So it's cool to see Google. It's cool. It's cool to see him get this kind of success. And he's we know he's a wrestling fan. This has never been hidden. He did his stuff with WWE at Summerslam years ago.
Christopher Daniels at All In.
He did All In.
Done some Ring of Honor.
One of my favorite T-shirts I own. I own the Vigilante Club T-shirt that he wore at All In. I'm a big fan of Stephen Amell. So to see him succeed with this show, I want it to be good. I really want it to be good. I didn't get as into Glow as I thought I would be.
It was okay.
So I'm very skeptical. I'm very.
This is totally
worried.
different.
I'm
Glow was like
that it's going to be like Glow, where I'm like, okay, this could be awesome, and then it kind of fizzles out.
Glow was definitely more hokey and over the top, as was the promotion. So I get why they did it that way. Yeah. Heels is dark. It is straight. They do the business justice. You will love this show, Mike. I guarantee it.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to watch it. I really can.
Sweet.
And seeing Punk with no tattoos is pretty crazy.
His character was very funny, by the way. The opening shot of him is he's taking a shit while he's on the phone. So that's all I'll tell you about it. It's fantastic. Very funny.
Does he play Herb Abrams?
Before I let you take it home, Mike, please head over to All Things Counted Out, which you can find at www.countedout7.com. We just got a punch in the face. Yeah, what a treat.
Lucy doesn't like me as much as Linus does.
My Lucy loves me, but she's hiding right now. Anything Counted Out related, www.countedout7.com. Good Friends, Better Enemies is there. Barry Wrestling is there. Classic Match Classroom is there. Subscribe to the Titantron. He's fantastic with Anthony.
Guess what else is there?
What's that?
Counted Out with Mike and Tyler.
What the hell is that? I heard that's the best countdown podcast of all time. At least the drunkest.
Oh, I don't know, man. I've listened to the Good Brothers podcast.
It is very good. They had a good one today. Either way.
I'll never listen again, but that's never
mind. Oh, yeah. Fuck Carl Anderson. I agree. But Luke Gallows is coming to Toronto. I want to check that out.
Definitely.
I got nothing more to say. I plugged everything. Subscribe, like.
Please just keep hitting those bells and whatever the fuck they are, no matter what, on YouTube. Subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe, please. If you're in, if you plan on being at the Barry show, it's just in a couple days from now when you're listening to this. If you're listening and you're going to be there, come and say hi.
We'd love it.
Yeah, we'd love it if you just came and say hi. We're not going to big time you, man.
Yeah, come and say hi. I have to say hi to Nova and Alexia and Nicole, friends of the show, and Holden.
Yeah, come and talk to us. That'd be awesome. Fuck, man, if we're live at the time, you'll even be on the show.
Yeah, we're down for that. We're gonna do a lot of cool stuff, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I can't wait for the show. It's gonna be great.
Well, take us home.
Well, by the time we're in next week, Barry will be behind us, so we'll have a lot to talk about next week. Do we have a special guest next week?
Maybe.
Have we solidified this?
We're about 50-50 right now. Possibly Anthony from the Titantron will be joining us. He's going to be on in the next couple of weeks. It's just a matter of finding a day that works for us. So in the next week or two, we'll be talking Classic Match Classroom. We'll be talking to Anthony. He's going to bring a list with us. It's going to be fun stuff. But in the
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
meantime, take us home, my brother.
On behalf of a list that's not nearly as bad as I thought it would be, we've been counted out.
Pipe bomb. I mean, cheers.
I hate you so much.